at the end of the study, that my patient came back to the office and I retrieved the device, I'm going to be using, which is a transmission report attached to a specific strip. Here, the view summary report will allow me to see the whole study. This is too big. Let me use another one that is shorter than that. Another patient. Let's use patient number 1, cardio monitoring, and I click on view summary report. We call this report the summary report, and different than on an IDTF, which is called the end of study summary report, because they only send you that at the end of the story or the study, unless you request it in the middle of the study. In our system, you're dealing with live data. What we have done with the Global Telehealth Solution System is remove the IDTF, what we call the middleman, out of the equation. This is directly between the patient and that device the patient is wearing and the physician, with the ability to use all these tools to analyze up to the minute data. This is live data. Therefore, you can open this summary report anytime you want and see the progress. As a matter of fact, our system, for every ongoing study, any live study, our system sends the physician an email at 5 in the morning with the summary report. So when the operators, the technician, or the office personnel who is in charge of monitoring, when they come in the morning, they see that summary report via email, they open it, and they're looking at what's been happening with the patient in the last 24 hours, which makes you compliant. So you're watching your patient, you're analyzing the data on a daily basis. So by getting the summary report, you are doing just that. It's automatically sent every morning at 5 in the morning. We see here that this patient used my device from May 28 to June 4, which was a total of 7 days. Should have this been a live patient, this end date would have contained the word still active. Left-hand side, in this first section, I have information about my practice, and on the right-hand side, I have information about the patient ID, name, address, and the serial number of the device this patient is using. Shows me a summary of the cardiac events. Here we can see it had 5 tachycardias, which represent 41.7% of the study, 1 Brady, 33 AFib, 2 pause. So it's a total of 12 cardiac events on the right-hand side. We also report on lead disconnected conditions and low batteries. Because if I have a patient that over a period of 7 days, 37 times a lead became loose, that tells me that this patient has to be prepared better in order for these leads not to come off, the electrodes to come off, or the leads to have false contact. And believe me, this is going to be pretty annoying if the physician has a patient that is not prepared properly, has not been trained properly. The physician or the technician or the office personnel, whoever is attending to this patient, must train them, because these devices are very sensitive. And one lead becomes disconnected, and the doctor is not going to get a text message, but it's going to be reported via email, and the patient is going to be getting alerts to the device. And getting these alerts at 3 in the morning is not funny. So physicians really need to, or technicians in general, need to train the patient on how to connect these leads, how to replace those electrodes, how to prepare if he's a hairy patient, if he's an overweight patient, use alcohol to clean the area, etc., etc., etc. We have complaints from patients and complaints from technicians when these leads become loose and patients are getting annoyed by these alerts. And it's all due to lack of preparation. We record every technical support phone call, and we hear the conversations. And when we attend into these technical calls, and we ask them, did they teach you how to clean the area? And they say, nope, they just gave me the device and told me, sometimes not even tell them how to charge the device. So the device is running out of battery constantly. that's preparing the patient has to do their job and prepare and instruct the patient how to prepare these the area where the electrodes are going to be connected to. So we report on those. We report on low battery and we report on lead disconnected because obviously in 7 days, 37 times a lead becomes loose. My study is not going to have the best accurate information because these leads are falling off constantly. In different sections, the tachycardia is described in the box above. You're able to see now the dots that represent the date and time where the tachys occur, the Brady, the AFib events, the patient's events are also shown here, and low battery events. Let's use here, let's say, I'm going to refresh my screen so I can show you how these little dots work. I go here, the right-hand side, this column represents, let me highlight that. These columns, on the column on the left-hand side represents the days the study took place, and then the bottom represents the 24 hours in a day. So I can see here that May 28, between the hours of, let's say, 3:40 p.m. and 5:50 p.m. is when the patient experienced the 5 tachys. If I put the mouse over any of these dots, okay, and I click on it, it opens that specific strip. So I don't have to navigate away from my report. Just by looking at my summary report, especially when it's automatically delivered to me in the morning, I open it up, specific part of the strip, and look at, obviously this is some sort of a baseline that was created. It's not giving me any. Let me you have to refresh your screen and you're back at the report. So I can navigate through all these dots and actually from the report able to look at the specific EKG that represents that alert. Let's go here, for example, this one here, this AFib. Let's see if we get better data here. No, same thing. To report on. You click back and you have to, your browser is going to ask you, depending on what browser you use, if you're using Chrome like I'm doing here, ask me to refresh my screen. So here at the end of the study, then I am going to print the summary report. I am going to, before I do that, I can, again, adding notes, very important for every physician at the end of the study. I can add my notes here, click here to update. Then I can print this report or I can save it as a PDF. If I select the first option, save summary report as PDF, it will only save this document, which each dot representing each one of the cardiac events. If I select the other button, save EKGs as PDF, it's a longer process, but if you click on that, it's going to take all those strips pertaining to every minute recording on cardiac events, and it's going to compress them into smaller graphs and connect all of them together into a single PDF document that you're able to, that you download to your EMR. Then you can export these 2 PDF files to your EMR system.